how did the husband and the kids take when they saw you bald? Because if it's a shock for you and you bald up and it's crazy, it's like a moment for you. How was their moment? How did they handle that change in your physical appearance now?
So when I cut it all off, they were all at school and at work. And I wrapped a scarf around my head, in which I was wearing scarves normally. So at that point, they came home and I said, hey, I cut my hair today. And they were like, what? And so I took the scarf off and they were just like, and it was just one of those moments, but they didn't cry or anything like that, or they just, they didn't say, oh, mommy, it looks good. It was just one of those shocking moments. Yeah, it took a moment for them to process it, but they were okay with it. I think, one of the things that they said later on after my diagnosis is that because I was so strong about it, and I never really let them see me cry or anything like that. I always would have my moments away from my family. And so they always saw me being strong about it. So it was easier for them to accept what was happening because in their eyes, I was able to do so and be strong about it. So it helped them deal as well.
Husband.
Because,
listen, my wife I married a woman with long, beautiful hair.
And the crazy thing about him is he doesn't care whether my hair is short, whether it's long. The only thing he doesn't like me wearing weave. He's like, as long as it's not fake hair, I'm good with it. And he's just one of those nonchalant type people that, if I went and cut my hair short and it's like, hey, how's my hair look? He's like, good. If I go straighten it out, how's my hair look? And he's like, good. And that's just the way he is. He has the nonchalant, just laissez-faire type personality where it's his main concern was that I would be okay. And that's just the general consensus. Even when I went through surgery and lost my breast, it was more so, hey, should I go through reconstruction? And he's like, I just want you to be okay. So whatever you want to do, I'm okay with it.
So, yes, reconstruction. You had a double mastectomy?
I've had a
single mastectomy. So I know this don't have nothing to do with hair, but just out of curiosity. So the idea of loose, because you just posted a picture with the image of the mastectomy after cancer, after chemo, where you see the burns to say this is what cancer looks like. Walk me through losing your breast, because you're bald, and now you got to take my titty too. Like, as a woman, what is that, girl?
When I say that emotionally, that was a difficult process. It wasn't a difficult decision. Because I originally went in for a lumpectomy because chemo had worked. It had shrunk my tumor, and there was they were like, okay, we can remove just, the tumor without affecting much of your breast. So we feel like a lumpectomy would be, the best thing. And I spoke with another young lady, Shandia McFadden Sabari, who has bold and breastless, and me and her were friends. We met when she came to YP to speak. And so she, I spoke with her, and she said, God told me to tell you to pray on that. And I said, okay. And she said, just pray about that. And I prayed, okay, God, send me a sign, if this is not what I'm supposed to do. So when you go in for the surgery and they're doing a lumpectomy, they insert wires into your breast to guide the surgeon to where to go to remove the tumor. And they put your breast in a mammography machine. So I had that pretty much, I was getting a mammogram.
Right.
And when they were inserting the wire, it was actually the same lady who had done my biopsy was the one who was doing this. And she said, I remember you. And she was like, okay, well, I just want to let you know that I'm seeing something in this machine. I don't know quite what it is. I'll talk with I'll speak with your surgeon, and then I'll let you know. So right before, I'm prepped for surgery, hair up in the bonnet, and I'm prepped for surgery, getting ready to go in. They're coming to get me, and my surgeon comes in and say, hey, did they tell you that they saw something? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, it's closer to your chest wall. Don't know what it is right now. And I said, you know what? Take the whole breast. And she was like,
you said that right before you went into surgery?
Right before I went in, I changed my surgery from a lumpectomy to a mastectomy because I had prayed for a sign. And if they saw something and I didn't know what it was, I didn't want to risk it. And so once I went through the mastectomy, and I didn't have time to think. If I really had time to think about it, I probably would have told them to take both. But I just made that last minute decision for them to take one. And when my pathology results came back, they said that not only had the cancer spread outside of my tumor, but it was also in my nipple, which would have been left intact had they only done a lumpectomy. And what they saw closer to my chest wall was another form of cancer that was developing in my breast. So me having the mastectomy was the right decision because they were able to get all of the cancer. My margins were clear. That's how they say it. Your margins are clear. And so I was then declared cancer-free. It took a very, very long time for me to be able to step out of the shower and look at myself in the mirror, because not only did I lose my hair, and my hair is now growing back, but it's still not my hair pre-diagnosis. And not only that, now I lost a breast, and I have the scar going across my chest, and I'm burnt from radiation, and you have to mentally accept your new normal. And then you worry about, okay, am I still sexy? Am I still going to be appealing to my spouse or whoever you might be with? That is a concern. And so in trying to consider reconstruction, because then it's like, okay, do I get reconstruction or do I not get reconstruction? Because if I don't have cleavage, which is part of the sexiest part of a woman. Is everybody has cleavage and they show cleavage, and people like to wear, the low cut sundresses and things like that. I can't wear those. And I'm okay with it now, but I still have my moments. Summertime comes around and I see the nice, pretty dresses, and it's like, okay, I want to wear that dress, but I can't. I have to have a camisole. I'll always have to wear something up under it. Everybody thinks about the diagnosis, but no one thinks about what we have to go through after a diagnosis, as far as image-wise. And then also the emotional scars. There were times when, I used to tell my doctor, I have chemo brain. And they'd be like, oh, that's not proven. Chemo brain is real, because how I thought and handled things before I went through chemo and how I do it now, multitasking is hard for me. There were times when I would be driving on the highway and all the cars would be passing me, and I would feel like I was about to have a panic attack. And I would call my husband and say, I'm about to lose it. It's just too much going on. I just need to stop. And he'd be like, hey, if you need to pull off, get off at the next exit or something like that. And when I'm in crowded places, it becomes overwhelming. I can't go to the mall because the mall is just overwhelming for me. Or if I do go, I go early in the morning.
So, okay, with that said, and we're talking about the things that you go through, your hair is now growing back. You made a decision not to go back to the creamy crack.
No, and it was an easy decision.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
Because once my hair started growing back, it was baby hair fine. It was like from that, I started to see my natural hair. And then it started curling up in a beautiful curl, a natural curl that all I had to do was wash it, and it curled right up. And then as it started growing out, when I started to see my natural curl pattern, I used to and then even others started saying, yes, it's like, why was I putting relaxer in my hair? I have a mixed hair, I guess you could say what mixed hair would look like.
You got like a 3B.
Yeah, something like that.
3B-ish kind of curl pattern.
So
and
honestly,
a nice little spiral.
Yes, honestly, I can wash my hair and condition it, wash it out, put in leave-in conditioner, and my hair would be fine. I wouldn't, but at that point, it's a little dry, so I normally put like some type of cream moisturizer in it or something like that, and I could actually go.
So let me ask you this question: considering the beauty images that you had before the diagnosis, you've had this epiphany. You're starting to embrace the natural elements and the natural beauty that you have. Let's say that your curl pattern wasn't a 3B. Let's say that you had like that tight, coily 4C hair. Do you think you would have made the same decision?
I think so. And I think because another thing that I had to also consider was, why did I get a cancer diagnosis? And so I took the BRCA test because I was diagnosed at 37. So because of that, they wanted me to take the BRCA test, which is the test to see whether I carried the breast cancer gene. And it came back negative. I did not carry it. And so you start wondering, like, how did I get cancer? And I think back on all of the things that I consumed growing up. Like, I grew up single parent household in the projects, and we grew up on canned foods. And if you think about it, what keeps canned food? Prevents them from, perishing, so, and spoiling. So it's like we consume that. And not only that, it's, the things that we put on our body. When I started going through radiation, they told me, change your lotion, change your deodorant, change your perfume. I couldn't wear perfume for radiation, so I had to use the stone that you wet and use for deodorant. I had to use the all natural, like aloe vera type lotions, the non-dyed soaps and stuff like that, and also just the lotions that you put on. Because if you think about it, when we put lotions, our skin is our largest organ, and we put those dyes and perfumes and all of that on our skin, that absorbs into our bodies. So not only the environment, the stuff that we breathe in, the foods that we eat, everything around us is pretty much making us sick. If you think about it, the stuff that's in a relaxer, nothing against people who choose to have a relaxer, but that's a chemical that you're putting onto your scalp, which is part of your skin, that absorbs into your body. My middle daughter had an issue with her natural hair, because that's not what society says is beautiful. And so she sees me with my long hair, and she sees her sister with her long hair, and she used to say, well, my hair is ugly. And so it's like, I'm doing all of this to make myself look beautiful, to make my daughter believe that straight hair is beautiful, when her hair isn't straight like mine, but her hair is still just as beautiful. So it's like one of those things, practice what you preach. How can I preach to my child that being naturally you is beautiful, when I'm straightening my hair and doing all of those type of things just to fit in with what society deemed as beautiful,
Now, you're natural, you're wearing your hair in your curl pattern. So are there certain products and certain chemicals that you either have to stay away from, or you choose to stay away from because of the diagnosis and the things that you've gone through with chemo?
Well, I've chosen not to relax my hair anymore, and I try my best not to straighten it as often because the heat damages your hair. But there's not anything that the doctors have told me to stay away from.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I can say that my doctor is not an ethnic doctor.
There we go. So yeah, I was going to ask, do you think that they're aware of some of the things that we put on our hair? Yeah, probably that's interesting.
Not. So I will say that my doctor isn't an ethnic doctor, and it's a male, so he probably wouldn't know what hair products to recommend for me. But I've stayed more into the shea butter, coconut type hair products. Cantu is more of my go-to because that works well on my hair. It's affordable for me. And I did try the Shea Moisture product, which I still use their leave-in conditioner every now and then. I prefer their conditioner. It's like a mixture of the Shea Moisture products as well as the Cantu products that I use, but not because my doctor recommended it.
So, okay, with that being said, when you go shopping, like for your hair products, are you looking for like, okay, no parabens, no sulfates, you're not looking at that?
No, I don't do that. I think it would be too stressful. I really do. I mean, it's like, I don't want to live my life in fear of a reoccurrence. I'm 5 years cancer free.
Praise God.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes, so I'm 5 years cancer free, and being 5 years is a milestone for a cancer survivor, because they like, once you get to the 5-year mark. I'm also blessed to not have to take any medication. So I'm not on any medication for cancer. I just have to go get my checkups every now and then to see my oncologist every 6 months. Now I'm going into my 5th year. I go every year. And also get my mammograms.
I've never gotten one.
Really?
I've never gotten one. It's not in my family, and they said I have to wait until I was 40.
But do you do self-exams?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
All the time. So I do my self-exams, but I'm scared.
Why?
I heard it hurts like hell.
You should be more scared of getting cancer diagnosis
you are absolutely right.
than you should about the mammography machine.
Okay.
Honestly, because, the mammography machine is uncomfortable, but it's not as uncomfortable as going through chemo and going through surgery and going through radiation.
breast cancer survivor, 5 years.
And counting.
And counting.
Yes.
5 years and holding.
Yes.
And so tell me about some of the things that you do in the breast cancer community, and are you involved, and what kind of things are you involved with in the community?
First and foremost, I think my main advocacy for breast cancer is to continue to share my story. And honestly, there was a moment where I prayed and I said, God, you know, what is the purpose in all of this? And the only thing that kept coming to me was share your story, share your story. And as you know, I was very wide open on Facebook and sharing my journey because of that. And so I continue to share my story as much as I can to anybody that'll listen. And every time, you know, I think of something new, I'll share it on Facebook. So I guess you could say I have a Facebook ministry. So I'm preaching on Facebook because I say that if my story can just encourage or inspire one person, then I've done enough. And I really think that I'm here for a purpose, because we all have a purpose. And I believe that my purpose is to save someone else from having to go through what I went through by sharing my story and just keeping it real. Because a lot of people say, oh, wear pink for breast cancer. Nothing wrong with wearing pink and bringing awareness to breast cancer, but being able to tell my story to someone who knew me before cancer and make sure that they do their self-exams or make sure that they go get their annual mammograms. Because a lot of people wait till they're 40. I was diagnosed at 37. So if I had waited till I was 40, I wouldn't be here.
So for people like me who may not have been personally affected but want to do things to support the community, what would you suggest for those who want to do something to help not only bring awareness but financially support things like that? Are there any organizations that we can look into to help support the cause?
I would say do your research and always know where the money actually goes, because a lot of people donate for the cause, for the cure, and may donate to an organization who's paying more for their CEOs and the people in the higher up ranks than actually helping a breast cancer survivor. There are small mom and pop organizations that don't get as much, I guess you can say, advertisement as the larger organizations, but do more for the actual community of breast cancer survivors. I know one in particular is mommyhasbreastcancer.org, I believe is the name of it. What they do is they deliver prepared meals to women who are fighting breast cancer because you don't have the energy to cook. Or they also offer housekeeping. They'll come clean a house because you don't have the energy to clean your house sometimes. And the last thing you want a breast cancer, fighter to worry about is if their house is clean or if their kids are fed or things like that. So those organizations that actually help drive someone to chemotherapy, because some women don't have a ride to chemotherapy. Just do your research to find out what they actually do for the community. The larger organizations, what I will say is that the American Cancer Society is awesome. I reached out to them for an event that I was doing and said, hey, I need literature, I need this, I need that. And they were like, sure, what's your address? Boxes of stuff showed up. Not only do they cater to breast cancer survivors, they cater to all cancer survivors. So that's what I love about them also. And also when I reached out to them, there were no qualms about sending me anything. They didn't ask for a penny.
So last question that I'll give you to close out. For anybody who might be watching who's either going through or family member going through cancer, breast cancer in particular, are there any words of wisdom or encouragement that you would give those people?
My word of advice to anyone fighting breast cancer, anyone who has lost a family member, anyone who has a family member fighting cancer, just stay encouraged, stay positive, focus on the things you can control, which is your mind and your faith, and just be there for support and just fight. Just continue to fight. Never give up.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something positive. I hope you were encouraged. I know I have been sitting here listening to this lady talk. Take the time to do your research. Just do something, anything, it doesn't matter how big or small, to support the cause. We all wear our pink. Don't just wear it, live it. Do something this month positive to help encourage those who are going with and affected with this disease. Again, thank you, Gimika, for taking the time. Guys, I appreciate you as always for watching. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'm doing stuff all the time. Never know what I might do, what video might pop up. Keep up with me, and thank you guys as always. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.
If you would like to follow me on Facebook, you can follow me at Gimika Gibbs. It's Gimika, last name Gibbs. I'm also on Instagram at Gem, GEM _me, ME.